Hey guys, Brian Lame the E-Hermit here, and this is VEDA number 8. For tonight's VEDA, I'm going to actually share with you some story time that I did with the kids the other day. I'm a little bit behind on my VEDAs because I got to the point where I wanted to actually do some post-production on one of the VEDAs, and I knew what I wanted to do for a VEDA, and it just made me stop and pause and not do any other ones when I really should have just plowed ahead and done a simple few VEDAs as I'm working on the other one if I really want to do post-production on the other one. So anyway, tonight's VEDA is going to be me picking up a story that I'd set down a while ago with the kids, The Mouse and the Motorcycle, and I'll just do some reading as my kids goof off and make faces into the screen, into the camera. So actually you're going to see a little bit about the personality of my kids. Julian is the shirtless one who will be sitting right over there, and he's the one who never slept for the first 15 months. We got no sleep at all. And he really did not sleep any more than 2 hours at a time for that whole period, and it was exhausting. So you're going to see his energy level, and you'll also see Caleb, who is a little bit further back, and as the story's going on, you're just going to see him fade. And so that he's lucky he doesn't fall out of the chair. So he's the one who always immediately went to sleep right at the appropriate time. So it's kind of a little peek into what home life is here. So please enjoy the story and try not to fall asleep off your chairs. All right, we'll catch y'all later. E-Hermit out. 3 years ago, I was reading a book to my kids, The Mouse and the Motorcycle, and it was on something called Quick. I still have the same crazy kids, but Quick seems to have gone away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start reading where Quick left off, and we were in the middle of chapter 8, and we're going to finish chapter 8 and maybe do some of chapter 9, okay? Sound good, guys? Okay. All right. So they were at the family reunion, and all of a sudden, there came from the knothole a noise that drowned out the squeaks and the squeals of the young mice at play. Shh, shh, shh. Not a mouse moved. They looked at one another, too terrified to freak. Too terrified to speak. Hey, Ralph, come on out. By the way, the voices are not going to be the same as they were 3 years ago, so. Whispered Keith at the entrance of the mouse nest. Ralph's mother gave him a little shove, but no one spoke. With heavy feet, Ralph walked to the knothole. I'll try to do some of them. But he did not go into room 215. What do you want? He asked. You and your family had better be quiet in there or my mother will hear you. You know how she is about mice, Keith said. I don't know why people say things are as quiet as mice. You sound like a pretty noisy bunch to me. Behind Ralph, his relatives began to tiptoe quietly away to their own homes, leaving his mother to do all of the cleaning up. Doggy licks on bear bellies. Did you have a nice picnic? Ralph asked, dreading what he must tell the boy. Yes, we saw an old mining town with a real jail with bars and windows. Keith reached into his pocket and pulled something out, carved in hard white, with a rubber band fastened to it with a piece of Scotch tape. I brought you a present, he said. Come on out. Puzzled and curious, Ralph squeezed through the knothole. What is it? He asked. Whatever the object was, he had never seen anything like it. Half a ping-pong ball I found down in the game room, said Keith. See? I patted it inside with thistledown and anchored the rubber band to the top with Scotch tape. What for? Ralph still did not understand. A crash helmet for you! Keith set the half ping-pong ball on Ralph's head and slipped the rubber band carefully around his whiskers until it rested under his chin. Everybody see?
Nope.
Look, it's a collie. There! That's just right. You needed to be big so there would be plenty of room for your ears. When you ride the motorcycle, you need a crash helmet. Ralph peered at Keith from under his new crash helmet, which rested lightly on his head. He knew he looked every inch a motorcycle racer, but never in his whole life had he felt so ashamed. Why does he feel ashamed?
He lost the motorcycle.
He lost the motorcycle in the pile of laundry, that's right. He longed to crawl off into his hole and never face Keith again, but his conscience, which until now he did not know he had, would not let him. There was nothing to do but stand there in his fine new crash helmet and confess. "You might as well know," he told Keith. I lost the motorcycle." "Lost the motorcycle?" Keith, who had been kneeling, sat back on his heels. "But how?" "I rode it by mistake into a pillowcase in a heap of linen on the floor, and it got dumped in the laundry hamper," confessed Ralph. "You rode it into a pillowcase?" repeated Keith. "But you weren't supposed to ride it in the daytime. You promised." "I know," agreed Ralph miserably. "I didn't exactly mean to ride it." "But you did." Keith's voice was accusing. "Well, you see, the maid was vacuuming under the bed, and I—" began Ralph, and he stopped. "Oh, what's the use? I wrote it, and I lost it, and it's probably gone in the laundry by now, and I'm sorry." The boy and the mouse were silent. Both were thinking about the little motorcycle with clean lines and a pair of shining chrome exhaust pipes. "That motorcycle was my very most favorite of all my cars," said Keith. "I saved up my allowance and bought it all by myself." Ralph hung his head in his crash helmet. There was nothing more he could say. It was a terrible thing he had done. "I guess I should have known you weren't old enough to be trusted with a motorcycle," said Keith. The boy could not have said anything that would have hurt Ralph more. Chapter 9.